It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's probably the best Superman movie we've gotten to date. Yes, now that's debatable. Doing our new Superman film, Superman 2025, directed by James Gunn. And ladies and gentlemen, DC fans, we're back. We're back. We are so back.
I saw this thing in a packed theater IMAX screening. Shout out to AMC for the free comic book. It's just issue one of that the one comic that Superman said that this movie was based, that James Gunn said that this movie was based on. But yeah, no, this movie made me feel so damn good because this is quintessentially Superman. Like in the tone, in the vibe, in the heroes and villains. This is the Superman that we have been waiting for. The Superman that you seen from, like, you know, the comics, or for people who don't read the comics, the old DCAU cartoons. This gives you those vibes of when you used to sit down as a kid and watch these specific shows and this specific tone of Superman. David Corenswet, just saying it off rip, did a phenomenal job emulating both the hope, the joy, and the mannerisms of the Man of Steel in both his good and his bad times, without it going overly over the top, or even without it, coming off as like, a god among men. No, he even says it himself in the movie. He is just as human as the rest of us, and he did a fantastic job portraying that. Hell, practically most of the cast did a fantastic job portraying their characters. Rachel Brosnahan killed it as Lois Lane. Nicholas Hoult, that is fucking Lex Luthor. I'm sorry, that is Lex fucking Luthor. Ma and Pa Kent, for the small bit that we saw them, I love them. It was just easy to feel that inviting warmth and that inviting home energy. Those scenes got to me. And then our additional heroes that we got in here: Guy Gardner, Green Lantern; Kendra Saunders, Hawkgirl; and Mr. Terrific of Maxwell Lord's The Justice Gang, which we will also be seeing them in Peacemaker Season 2. They, for what they do for the story, are really good, especially Mr. Terrific. Mr. Terrific, this movie, definitely, I know for certain, made a lot of Mr. Terrific fans. People are going to realize why this character is so dope, and that is because this dude Eddie really makes Mr. Terrific just cool to people. Someone really without that many powers, alongside a Green Lantern and a Hawkgirl, and he is the standout character among those three.
Yeah, and I know we'll get into these side characters with the Justice Gang and everything. It's not their official name, but yeah, whatever. But yeah, Mr. Terrific, definitely the better version, live action, compared to the one in Arrow. This is the true version. Just call a spade. But yeah, to your point, I felt this was a feel good movie. This reminded me of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films in terms of the joy, especially Spider-Man 2, just in terms of like the joy, the smiling you feel at the end of the film and stuff like that. Like, you rarely get those moments like that, recently now, as everything been going more darker. Now I'm a Man of Steel defender. I love that film. Again, it came out over 10 years ago. I've met Henry Cavill. I know he is the physical embodiment of who Superman, what he looks like and everything. And I do feel like, he definitely was given the short end of the stick in terms of opportunity to fully explore this character. That being said, what we have here now, I can say quintessentially, this is Superman in all of its full glory. And it reminded me when I was a kid watching Justice League Unlimited with my father, bringing my inception to the entirety of the DC universe into comics and video games and everything, and especially animated films and stuff. This film is a comic book brought to life, and all of its quirkiness, and some of it also is heart and humanity. And I felt this has been, and ironically, even though we had a Captain America movie came out this year, I feel this is the most, last year, right? No, it was this year. Man, can you believe it?
It was this year. It was this year.
Okay, it was this year. Yeah, even though a Captain America movie came out this year, I felt this is the most
Yeah,
American film I feel we've gotten this year. And I mean by that, it's just like you feel of just doing the right thing, representing, of uh having endurance of saving life. This is I feel the Superman that had been most devoted and serving humanity and actually the preservation of life. And even as stupid and cliche might be in some scenes, whatever, him saving a squirrel, him saving, people, or not trying to do as much damage as a Man of Steel. I understand he was Superman for a day. I get it. All right. It was like 20 some Kryptonians against one. The odds was not in his favor. But but even then, like try not to kill people by trying to kill threats, even though my call for that. And again, the Boy Scout nature, I feel like David Corenswet, brought the best side of Superman, and even the relationship between Lois Lane, Rachel, like she knocked it out of the park. This is a cinematic Lois Lane I hope we'll have for the next 10 to 15 years, whatever. And I felt this was, for a while we've seen people that have been perfectly cast in this film. Again, now there might have been some nitpicks here, but like Lex Luthor, Nicholas Hoult. Again, this dude tried out for Batman, didn't get it. Nope, no. Tried for Superman, no, didn't get it. And then this is where the no's lead to the perfect yes. Is that this is what I felt like this is the role that he was meant for. And mind you, this is not first time being in comic book movies. He was Beast, but I felt this brings another range to him. I feel like, again, there's many opportunities for him in the future in terms of how you can explore this character. This film just needed to be a set foundation. It didn't give you all the meat of all these characters, because some of this stuff is common knowledge. We're not just starting in a basic origin. You have a common sense if you know DC, know who these characters are. But also, for me, when I was a kid watching the Justice League cartoon,
right.
there were just characters just thrown in there that I had no clue who they were, and I just remembered years later when we're now seeing them live action, especially when we're seeing like shows like The Flash, Smallville, Arrow, whatever. Oh, I remember him. He was from that episode. That had a strong foundation.
Right.
And
like,
even
like
then,
no,
go ahead.
I was saying, like, at this point, like, sorry, I was saying, like, at this point, these studios know that we, as an audience, have some level of familiarity from at some point with the character, even if it's not one as popular as Superman. They know that we know it's in some way, and if we don't, we'll learn, and if we do, then there's no need to go through the whole origin. That's why instead we're in like 3 years into Superman's career instead of starting with Krypton's. Just like, we're not going through that again, just like we're not going through Peter Parker's origin again, or going through Batman's parents' death again. I hope not. Like, just they know, they trust us at this point to be like, okay, you guys already know the origin for the most popular ones. We're just going to start at a certain point and kick it off from there. That level of trust is something good, especially for this film, because we're not beating you over the head with the basic shit.
Yeah, and not only that is that you have James being a visionary that he is, but alongside with Peter Safran, this was just a good foundation. Do I think that in the future that all DC films gonna be like this? Absolutely not. Nor I believe he intended it to be that way. But yet there is some James Gunn isms in this film. I will say that in the first act or so, pacing issues in terms of us getting the ball rolling with the plot and everything. But once we hit it, we're there. I was like thoroughly into it. I wasn't bored. I felt, again, going to James, what he's very good at is establishing character, but also establishing personality. Even additional characters like with Jimmy Olsen, in a new iteration of him. But again, Jimmy Olsen that I would love to see more of, right? Even also, like, if you are a Superman fan, even movie references to that, it didn't took me later to like the third act to realize certain characters' names. It was like, oh hey, Otis, let's go. And it was like, oh, Otis, that's Otis. The Lex Luthor's henchman, in the original Christopher Reeve Superman movie, and I believe it was in the comics, possibly, I believe. But I just remember from rewatching all the Superman films recently. Miss Tessmacher and everything like that. But you get the also aspects of Daily Planet to bring back true journalism again, like going investigating and having that being a part of the plot, but not in a, it's just a
Right.
simple is more, right? Yeah, Lex Luthor creating a pocket dimension, that's just comic book stuff, right? That's whatever, but like actually find like him
Right.
going back to the
Like
roots
that.
of like real estate, of him trying to find, like him trying to have ownership, like I want my own country. Like that's Lex Luthor, like the original, like in cinematically, especially in the Richard Donner Superman films, like he just wanted real estate. He's a businessman, but with this type of Lex Luthor is going into another psychotic realm of he does envy Superman only because he reminds us how small we are. But again, even though they didn't fully explore that side of Lex, even though we know comic readers know, even like with his father and other stuff like that, with Lionel, but like those seeds were there to explore that in the future, which I'm very happy to see that. But at least we create this vendetta now, that there's just like this one scene in the third act after everything been resolved, that you see Lex is looking at Superman and Superman looking at Lex, and there's no dialogue, but you just hear the score playing. But it was giving the Transformers 1, Megatron, and Optimus Prime looking at each other like this isn't over. And then, but also like the look of like, I think you and I are destined to do this forever type look, like, like the like, and that's to me like, the comic book nature of it. It's like we now have a Superman Lex, they're at eye level, that just, and even then you have him just doing this, and then Lex just looking at him just with just disgust, anger and a vendetta, right? Definitely, like I would love to see how that's going to manifest in the future. But what's your thoughts on that?
Like I just the dynamic between Lex and Superman in this film is just like, as I said, Lex is straight up petty. Like he will do the most pettiest things to prove himself right. Like not going into too much into it right now. It's just like the way that he uses media, again, with media being a very big thing in this film, the way he uses it just to destroy Superman's public perception. Because it's not just one thing to like say, put on a power suit and just fight him in the middle of the city. No, he's got to destroy everything that he is built and everything that he stands for. That includes all of the people that he has even the smallest interaction with, as we see in this film, to just like, oh, Superman is beloved by people, so I'm going to destroy that trust, among them by trying to find something to use against them, whether it's true or not. And I'm going to start a war just so that way, I can, do this and that and, real estate, get my own land, be a king and all that shit. Gene Hackman would be proud. He would be proud of that. But yes, it's just, the way Lex just hates Superman for just existing. And as you said, because it makes him and probably a few others feel small. That moment in the third act with the two of them just looking at each other just solidified, even though I already felt it throughout the entire movie, just solidified for me. This is a dynamic that is going to go on for years within these films, and I am so here for it. Meanwhile, Superman is doing his best to just be the best person he can be for himself, he loves, and for the strangers that he can. And it's like that dynamic was just radiating. Like, it's what I know from the comics, it's what I know from past iterations. Like I'm ready to see more of that shit. Like, I'm so ready for it.
Yeah, and also, like, it was giving Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man, Sam Raimi film vibes, where when he was fighting Green Goblin, and all of a sudden the city of New York was throwing, was defending Spider-Man from Green Goblin. Even though how stupid it is, it could have been, oh yeah, he could kill all of them, whatever. But it was just showing that moment of like, this hero is supported and loved even around the world, right? Which is, again, when we have Superman represent truth, justice, and a better tomorrow, not just the American way, but even then, by striving for a better tomorrow, it also builds the foundation of what it means to be American. And again, that's it. See, and now when people try to politicize. This is a very political movie, but again, they just balance it off with a lot of good themes there. But even with David, in terms of like what I do, I'm not trying to go represent any nation, whatever. But he had us devoted because of you know, from his parents telling him that, oh yeah, just be, you know, just serve humanity and everything. But yet we find his true intentions, which again I feel like can be controversial for a lot of people, but just letting you know, in Superman lore and different iterations in comics, it's happened before. Even go back to Smallville, it's happened before. But I think there's more to explore on that. It's just that this is gonna be like, wait, well, that's different. Yes, it is different, but it's not unfamiliar. That makes sense. Because like that story point with his parents about krypton and motivation to send him to Earth, that has happened before. Just do your research. But anyway, but also going to the expansion of the DC universe as we kind of wrap things up here, where we get other characters such as like Miss Terrific, Hawkgirl, Guy Gardner. Guy Gardner, I thought it was, you know, decent in terms of us knowing who he is, you know, representing an asshole. Again, I mentioned like some negatives, like Hawkgirl. Isabel, I have no issue with her. I think she's a great actress and stuff. I felt like the character was just there. They didn't really add anything. It was more like you can take it or leave it. Metamorpho, I like, listen, very small amounts of him in the movie, but like definitely loved his performance and possibility of that character too. Again, I always remember him animated and, you know, in the comics too, but like he got his justice doing this, and in a very satisfying way. Miss Terrific is the dude. Honestly, you know, I don't need your help. I'm goddamn Miss Terrific. You know, I love
that. Like, I love that.
Like, he's the stoic.
I'm sorry, I just can't. Like he was just great, and hell, I can't even not think about that freaking second post-credit scene. Which, I mean, it's fine to talk about it. They're not world building within those things. He's just like, what? I mean, it's a little off. What you want me to do? Take it apart, put it back together again? Like, what you want me to do?
But right,
he was great. He was great though.
But again, even also like the nonchalantness, like, you know, yeah, there's some off going on the side. There's interdimensional imp going on right now. They're taking care of it, and I'm just sitting here just talking to my girl. You know, that's the DC universe, bro. Which, and I've said this, even the Marvel universe, they haven't even done something like that. Like they have to that scale of like something's happening and you see another hero sitting watching, like, you know, they got it, you know, like, but that represents the history and legacy. Even though this film originally was called Superman Legacy, it represents just like, hey, there's other characters in this world and things are taken care of and stuff. So, but again, I'm so devoted to this conversation, even though we're in a fantastical world where this is the norm, that, you know, stuff happening, you know. But I love that it's such a strong foundation. Again, nitpicks here. I hope they change the suit. Even then, there were moments where I totally forgot about, you know, what the suit that he was wearing. And again, there's some points where it looked better, and at some points like, yeah, okay, can they just tweak just a little bit? Again, it doesn't take me out of the movie at all. You get used to it, but there's some moments like, can they just change it a little bit? But that's literally it. Action scenes wise, again, doing comic book moves, right? You know, to the point, like, again, we've seen action-packed punching and all stuff like that, but like even some gentle stuff of him trying to hold a building and, you know, not like, you guys good? All right, cool. All right. Him going up to the sky, coming right back down, just trying to, like, you know, a catapult down, debris and everything. And I also don't want to, you know, I know we got to spoilers, but other characters with different iterations that they set up in the future. Again, comic people could be like, well, that's not actually Ultraman. And it's like, no, you don't understand. That actually beautifully sets up, you know, stuff in the future. And it don't overhand it. They set a seed there to plant it. But even at the end, other characters that come in that are going to have movies coming in next year. Again, their iteration, they come in, it's like, hey, where's my dog? You know, peace out, bitch. You know? But like, and I saw some people, you know, I saw people had issues with how they're interpreting this character. But again, it's like, we'll get into it in another video. But like, there is a reasoning why this person acts the way they do. And again, James has a plan
Mm-hmm.
how they're represented, and some people are not going to agree with it, even with this version of Superman. But it's going to take time. This is a palate cleanser. I feel for a lot of DC fans, get back to
Right.
our roots of knowing who these characters are fundamentally at their core. Um, but in over time, they're going to evolve. Again, the Iron Man and Captain America, the first movie, my dad hated Captain America. He said he sucks in the first Avenger. But then over time, to the moments of him lifting Mjolnir and going against toe to toe with Thanos, again, you're seeing an arc of how these characters are evolving. Same with these characters. But again, we're still familiar. Like, this is who we know and what we remember who these characters are. But everyone can have their particular version. But I think this is going back to a fundamental base foundation of the DC universe. But just round out closing thoughts. What rating will you give for this movie out of 10? And final thoughts.
I give this final thoughts. I see my thoughts are still shifting. So right now, I'd say it's in between like an 8.5, 9, and 9.5. Like, if anything, I'll just say straight up 9 out of 10 for me. Shifts a little bit, but but just overall thoughts. Yes, this is going to definitely be a lot for certain people to take in, because we had an entire like couple years of DC movies being a certain way and being in a certain direction, that something that's more comic booky is a little bit hard to digest. But I promise you, as somebody that reads comics every freaking week and knows this DC universe like I do right now, and loves these characters and loved what I saw, you'll get used to what the true nature of the DC universe, and both the hopeful side, the dark and brooding side, the mystic, the monstrous, all of that. You'll understand, you will get to see why the DC universe is the way that it is within the pages of these books, within the stories that so many readers since the original Superman creators have given us. And in terms of this movie, I feel like this is going to definitely be something that we look back upon and be like, this was the start of something special. Like, we'll look back on this when, say, like a Justice League movie or a big like crisis movie comes for this DC universe, and we're gonna be like, this was the start of what was something new after what we had before. Like, this is almost like a difference between like a New 52 and a Rebirth or something like that, where it's like, we're in for something. Right. It is a rebirth. Like, even though there's no, like, if I would have to say, this is definitely a DC rebirth in its own right. And it's going to take a minute for us to fully understand how that feels, because we only have one movie plus Creature Commandos right now. But I promise you, we're in for something special. And James Gunn, thank you for bringing our Man of Steel, our big blue Boy Scout back to us.
Yeah, and I would just say, for me, what make or break in this universe, because again, I'm not the biggest Superman fan, even though I'm a fan of Superman, but I have other characters above him. Again, Lanterns, the Brave and the Bold, how you can do the Robins, and how you did that dynamic. If you just have those two pillars, you got that. You've gotten Superman right. Half the job has now already been done. Half the job has already been done. Now, Batman, Brave and the Bold, I want to see how you're going to pull this off. And I know James not directing it, but I'm just saying. And one thing I thought was beautiful, like, is that when I'm watching this movie, you see the possibilities. Like, okay, when he interacts with Bruce Wayne for the first time, it's going to be so more impactful because we know what type of Superman this one is, right? It's not about just having two characters.
Not
go on.
Like, not even that. I was like, not even that. It's going to be crazy to see how this Lex Luthor interacts with a Joker in this universe.
Right, and but I think that, like, it will be very pleasant to see, just seeing that dynamic again. I'm already seeing it, but just like I'm just waiting to see, like, once you have that, because a lot of people ain't gonna be sold on just by this movie. Even but people are you're seeing a lot of people enjoying it just on a base foundation. But DC just needs a win at this point right now, and this is a good start. When you get other stuff coming in, you bring other characters in where now your two pillars are not the only foundation for like, okay, all I want to see Batman movies. There's other characters here. Now after this, I want to see a Mr. Terrific, series maybe, or a Metamorpho in Creature Commandos or something. Or something like that. I don't know. I mean, but probably not blowing with that. But seeing Guy Gardner, he will be in Lanterns. Seeing that dynamic of actually, of him going, oh, I took a vow. All that stuff, right? And us Pierce like, it's an oath, nigga. But anyway, ain't no vow, it's an oath.
Like, bro. Literally in this movie, this dude says oath every time he tries to make himself sound more authoritative. I can't wait for Hal to call him on his shit. It's like, I took the oath too. It ain't that deep, bruh.
Right, or something, but again, I was just like, us purists is like, it's not a vow, it's an oath. But anyway. But some people are like, it's the same thing. It's purist. Why is Hawkgirl screaming? Anyway, like why she's saying like that's like, hey, Black Canary, that's somebody got the screams. You just fly and have a mount, mountain and everything.
That war cry.
Like war cry, like what are you doing?
War cry every time. Every time.
But anyway, yeah, is the movie perfect? No, there's stuff we can say that I was stupid. But aside from that, make sure you subscribe button, comment, like, and share. Let us know your thoughts on Superman. DC fans, we are back. Let us know in the comment section down below. We're gonna have more videos breaking this down, also other reviews and stuff coming out. But we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.